So today we are going to be doing our second to last, and I know I promised you guys that we're finishing this up, our second to last video in our series on leadership traits and principles. We've already done all the traits, the characteristics that you as a leader should be embodying. Knowledge, loyalty, courage, etc. We're going through the principles, things that you should be doing. These aren't open ideas. These are literal things that you should be doing. Things like what we're going to be talking about today. And what we're going to be talking about today is a big deal. This is a big thing to unpack. There's a lot going on. There's a lot we're going to talk about. And there's a lot of ideas that are going to be thrown your way. And I want you guys to understand that while there is a lot going on, the reason for that is this principle right here that we're about to talk about directly relates to you as a leader and your success and failure in your group. And the idea, the principle that we're going to talk about is the act of employing your command in accordance with its capabilities. Now, I know that's a mouthful. There's a lot going on. To the guy on my details video who commented a couple of hours ago saying that I talk too fucking much, I got some bad news for you, because this one we're going to be talking the whole video, man. So let's unpack it here. What are we talking about when we say employ your command in accordance with its capabilities? It means that you as a leader, raid leader, guild leader, officer, I don't care what you're doing. You know, normal, heroic, mythic, you're doing mythic plus, brand new, you've been doing it forever. You first and foremost need to have a almost omnipotent understanding of what you have available to you as far as the classes, as far as the specs, as far as the capabilities of your people. You know, I know, she does really good DPS. I know he's not a great healer. I know that, he's a mediocre tank, etc. You also need to understand what you're going up against. I.e., there's a big difference between doing normal Garathi Worldbreaker and heroic Coven, right? Coven, there are a ton of mechanics. Garathi, not so much. So you need to understand what you have available and what you're going against, so that you can ensure that you make tweaks, adjustments, and that you are in you fitting your group into that right little hole for what they will succeed at. There's a lot to unpack, but it simply boils down to understanding, and I want you guys to remember this as we go through, understanding what you as a leader, I don't care where you're at on that organization, guild leader, raid leader, don't care. Understand what you have, what you can do, what you're up against, and then going at the correct difficulty, or in terms of, militarily, as, obviously me and my time in the Marine Corps, picking the right mission as a leader that you can succeed at. So if you know that your unit is not equipped to handle, a certain type of enemy, and, the generals down there, the colonels down there, the captains down there saying, hey, we need a fire team or a squad to go do this. Well, shit, we can't do it. Why would I even attempt to do it? We are going to fail. We're going to die. Little bit less concerning when it comes to World of Warcraft, but the ideas and the principles still stay the same. So there's a lot to unpack. Let's go ahead and get into it here. First and foremost, you as a leader do not, and we just touched on this, you don't want to volunteer your unit, your guild, your raid group, your party for things that you know that they cannot do. You are setting your people up for failure when you do this. And we just touched on that. The real life example that I can directly give you guys, because it happened to me, it happened when I was on a deployment. My unit, the 15th Marine Expeditionary Unit, we were in Ramadi. And one of it was actually our commanding officer, he was a colonel, and I don't know the mindset behind it. I don't know the thought process. Being a non-commissioned officer, I didn't directly interact with him a whole lot. He would task our unit with an ridiculous amount of convoy runs through the city of Ramadi. Now, if you guys go back and look through history, especially like the early 2000s, 2005, 2006, 2007, Ramadi and Fallujah, which is where I was deployed at, not a great place to be. So you're looking at me and my group, a bunch of communication Marines, we're computer nerds, right? That while we are trained to be Marines, and of course, we have, the training to do some pretty cool stuff, we weren't equipped, both as people and as equipment. We just didn't have the ability to continue to do convoy runs. And so every time we did one, we'd get lit the fuck up. And so, of course, you get this mindset that, why does the colonel keep sending us to do this crap? Is it because he's trying to get that star? Is he trying to get promoted by saying that, my Marines went through and did this every single day and every week and whatnot? And that was the mindset that a lot of the younger guys had. And I can totally see where they're coming from. I'm not saying that they're the idea that they had floating around was not without substance, because why was he doing that? It didn't make sense. And that's what's going to happen, is if you go, hey, we cleared normal and Taurus this week. Next week, we're going into Mythic. Everybody good with that? Your guild, your raid is going to think you're smoking crack. What the hell are you talking about? Why would we go through Mythic content when we cleared normal this week? Can we get some heroic content under our belt? Can we, it doesn't make sense. So don't volunteer for things that your group, your guild, your raid cannot do. The second thing here is you need to understand what you have available and what you can do, i.e., who is going to be out for the night. Do you know that one of your tanks is out tonight? Do you have a backup? Does somebody have an alt? Does somebody have an off spec that they've geared up for tanking? What do you have available to make adjustments where you can pull from people, you can get people to fill spots so that you can succeed? If you do not have this, right? If you have not planned, if you are not tracking things like when people are going to be out, what's going on in advance, you need to do so. What my guild does is we have a Discord channel, just a text channel. And the only thing that I ask is, I don't need your life story on it. If you want to tell me what's the deal, that's cool. But if you say, hey, I'm out, Thursday night, I'm going to be out, whatever, going to a party. Cool, whatever. I know that you're out. I can make adjustments. And then, of course, it's easy for me to later on go, hey, that guy was out this whole month. We raid 2 nights a week. So you figure, 8 raid nights a month. He was out 6 of them. Maybe we need to chat with him. Or maybe we need to put him in a role that's better suited for somebody that can be out a lot, if they're a tank or healer or something. So you can understand where to pull people from. The third one here is understanding the scope of your command. And this is one that is hard for a lot of new officers to grasp their heads around, because they think, and to put it very bluntly, that they own the guild, right? That they can do whatever they want, that, et cetera, et cetera. Understand what your responsibilities and what your job is when it comes to being a leader. It would not make sense for my officers in my guild to make sweeping guild changes without talking to me. If I, for whatever reason, was out for the night, or maybe it was an off night, and my officers, stated in Discord or in guild chat or something that here are the new raid times, here are the new raid rules, and here's who is and isn't getting loot, and they're making sweeping changes, that's not something that they are allowed to do. That is not that is not in their scope, right? It doesn't make sense. It's not their job. It's not their responsibility. And simply put, it's not going to fucking happen. Understand what you can and cannot do. The next one here is you need to make sure that when needed, that you ask for help. If hey, we do not have this. Hey guys, the tank's out tonight, and we do not have a backup tank. Does anybody have an alt that I can count on moving forward that can fill that gap? If you know that there are gaps that you don't have the understanding for, that you aren't able to take care of something, get it, fix it. Ask your guild leader, ask your fellow officers, Ask people for help. Make sure, though, that everybody is doing everything that they can before you ask for help, before you start making tweaks. So this is another big one that you may want to make tweaks and, okay, the healer's, this healer obviously isn't cutting it, so let's drop him and then we'll replace him. Well, is it that he isn't cutting it, or is it that everybody's taking unnecessary damage? Especially when you get on farm mode and people aren't paying attention and you kind of bring a new person in, maybe they aren't used to the fact that people are just not going to pay attention. And the last one here is make sure that you are assigning tasks equally when it comes to that raid. And we've talked about this one before, that you can't have, if you go, hey, I need somebody that is willing to switch to an alt to tank, and Jim raises his hand. Hey man, I got a warrior tank that I play on off nights. I'd be willing to bring him tonight. Cool. Okay, now we need a healer. Jim, I got a healer as well. All right, Jim, you're responsible for both tanking and healing, and you can't do that. You can't put it all on one person. You have to spread it out. You have to assign tasks equally and make sure that people are doing the jobs that they're given, and we've talked about that, but that people are in fact given jobs, and that you're not focusing everything on a select group of people, because we've talked about developing responsibility. We're talking about growing your group, your raid, your guild as a team, as a family. And when you don't assign things equally, one, it definitely shows favoritism. Two, you're not building up people. You're only highlighting a select few, and ultimately it's going to be very bad if, one, the people that aren't getting jobs, if they're not like, why does he always get to do all this stuff? Screw this, I'm out. Or I'm tired of doing everything. Screw this, I'm out. So it can definitely blow up in your face. So ultimately here, and I'm going to repeat it one last time for you guys, you should understand what you have available, what you're going to go up against, and ensure that you have the tools available to succeed. If you don't, make adjustments. If you do, knock it out of the park. With that being said, you guys know the deal. If you like the video, there's a thumbs up. If you don't like the video, you just keep watching other videos of mine. Let me know in the comment section down below what you do or do not like, especially if you don't like something. And until next time, guys, I'll see you.